Well, behind on the screen you can see something like a pink line over there. That's Logic Pro X open with one track highlighted in pink. That's what we are going to be looking at today. That pink track forms a very important part of something about this beat. Well, it's the chord plugs. What are the chord plugs? Let's take a look at it now. Whenever you're making a deep house EDM track, I think a muffled pad is something very important in the track, and that's what we are going to be doing right now. We've got a chord which we've got set, and we need to make that chord a little bit muffled. You know, it gives a little bit of a dark but a nice feel to the track. So what we're going to be doing is opening up our ES2 synth. Once again, to mention to you, the ES2 synth is a Logic Pro X synth and it's not an external third party synth. So you can just download Logic Pro and ES2 will pop up in your instrument section. So we open up the ES2, we get a sound which is a chord sound which is a preset from the ES2 itself. We randomly take some chords. Like I told you, this song is in E minor, so we're going to be taking chords which go with E minor, and what we've done is got a sound just like this. Basically what I've done over here is I've just taken the notes G2, B2 and E3, and I've played the chord once, but I've sliced the notes down to give it a sort of a rhythmic feel. So what it sounds like is this. And now if you listen to the same thing with the beat, this is what it's going to sound like. Let's listen to our bass and the groove that we created in the last 3 episodes, and let's see how this rhythmic chord plug sounds with the whole groove and the bass line. Once, let's listen to the track without the chord. Just the groove and the bass. And when you put on the chords, you see how much difference it gives. It just changes the whole track. This particular muffled chord from ES2 which comes in, the rhythmic chord which goes ta 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 ta, it just sort of gives you that, you know, that it sort of throws an instruction to you. This is a nice deep house track. So let's listen to it once again with the chord. Well, what I've done with the chord is also that after playing the chord and then slicing it up and using the sound from ES2 to play the chord, it sounds really nice and rhythmic, but I have processed the sound. Like I told you, I always put an equalizer on my sound. Well, I would not say I wanted it, but every deep house track, when the chords are played or the pads are played, they're slightly muffled, you know, so it gives you a little bit of a dark feel. So what I've done is kept the low frequencies the way they are, but just to give the track a little bit more volume, a little bit more clarity, and to make it, you know, sound clean when you're listening it to it in the mix, I've increased the highs and the mids of the track a little bit. So the plucky chord has got low frequencies the way they are, unchanged, slightly increased mids and highs in the EQ. One thing which I like to use again in most of my tracks is the compressor. That's something which I use off and on practically most of my tracks. So I've also put on a compressor on this track. The compressor, basically what it does, it just gives a little bit of a feel and it brings the sound out there. So I've used the compressor as well on the chords. And another thing which I've done is, if you listen to the sound carefully, the sound is being slightly filtered. Let's listen to this in solo, and what you'll notice is that the sound is muffled, it suddenly becomes clean and then it goes back to being muffled. I've used a filter for it. Once again, like I told you friends, I've not used anything third party, and all these filters, EQs and compressors are built in with Logic Pro X. So let's listen to the pluck chord solo and see how the filter sounds with it. Feel it getting clear? And there we go, and back down. So what we've done is we've made the track muffled all the way, but just when we are making some change in the track, you know, like how we would put an effect, instead of putting the effect, I just use the filter to take it higher, make it clean, give it those high frequencies and then suddenly make it muffled. So that just shows that, you know, something is going to happen, and then yes, the next sound is introduced. So with the chord plugs, what we have is the ES2 sound, the equalizer, the compressor, and last but not the least, the filter, which gives it that nice edge to the sound. Let's listen to the whole thing once again. the kick, the bass and the chord. And we have the rest of the instruments. There you go. You have your chord pluck all set and ready. Stay tuned to DJ Suketu Unplugged, and next week we'll come back on putting something very different and nice in a deep house track. We're going to be getting into a slightly classical sound. So stay tuned.